The alchemical stage: how art reshapes the self. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode. I hope you've found a comfortable pocket of time in your day to settle in, because today we are embarking on a journey through the senses. We are stepping away from the utilitarian, metric-driven aspects of self-improvement and entering a realm that is far more evocative, sublime, and historically profound. Today, we are talking about the transformative power of the performing arts, specifically, the act of immersing oneself in theater, opera, and cinema. In our contemporary culture, personal development is often packaged as a series of hyper-optimized routines, reading data-driven non-fiction, meditating with an app, or engineering our sleep cycles. While those have their merits, we often overlook a more ancient, alchemical catalyst for growth: our engagement with aesthetic and dramatic arts. Sitting in a darkened theater, watching an opera singer push the limits of human vocal capacity, or witnessing a cinematic masterpiece unfold on a silver screen is not merely a form of passive escapism. It is an active, a vital exercise in expanding the human consciousness. Today, let's dissect exactly what happens to our psychological, intellectual, and emotional architecture when we subject ourselves to the magic of the stage and screen. Let's begin with the concept of theater and the unique phenomenon of live performance. In a world increasingly mediated by algorithms and cold, glowing glass screens, live theater offers something deeply radical: unmediated human presence. When you sit in a theater, you are participating in a transient, collective ecosystem. The actors on stage are breathing the same air as you, they are vulnerable, operating without the safety net of an edit or a second take. From a cognitive perspective, this demands a highly sophisticated level of presence from the audience. In psychology, we talk about the suspension of disbelief, but live theater goes beyond that. It triggers an intense activation of our mirror neurons. When a protagonist experiences a devastating betrayal on stage, your brain doesn't just register the plot point, it simulates the physiological weight of that grief. This live containment of raw human emotion acts as a powerful crucible for emotional intelligence. It forces us to confront complex moral ambiguities. In a well-written play, there are rarely pure villains or flawless heroes. Instead, we are presented with the messy, fractured reality of the human condition. By learning to navigate these narrative gray zones on stage, we cultivate a deeper, more nuanced capacity for empathy in our actual lives. We become less quick to judge, and more inclined to understand. Now, let us elevate our gaze to what many consider the pinnacle of performing arts: the opera. To the uninitiated, opera can sometimes appear intimidating, perhaps even archaic or elitist. But if we strip away the historical preconceptions, opera is perhaps the most visceral, multisensory artistic experience available to us. It is what the Germans call a Gesamtkunstwerk, a total work of art that synthesizes poetry, drama, visual design, orchestral majesty, and the unamplified human voice. When you witness an opera, you are exposing your psyche to emotion on a monumental scale. The narratives of opera deal with the absolute extremes of human experience: existential dread, consuming passion, sacrificial love, and devastating madness. Because the human voice in opera operates without microphones, the physical sound waves literally vibrate through the space and hit your body. It bypasses our intellectual defenses and speaks directly to the subconscious. How does this contribute to personal growth? It induces what the ancient Greeks called catharsis, a profound emotional purification and release. In our daily lives, we are conditioned to compartmentalize our grand emotions. We suppress our deepest griefs, our wildest angers, and our most fervent longings in the name of social decorum. Opera provides a magnificent, safe sanctuary for those suppressed emotions to be externalized and processed. To leave an opera house deeply moved is to have cleansed your emotional palate, leaving you more resilient and emotionally articulate. But what about the most pervasive art form of our time: cinema? Because film is so readily accessible, we frequently relegate it to the status of mere entertainment. Yet, when approached with intentionality, cinema functions as the ultimate empathy machine. It possesses a unique, structural advantage over traditional theater, the camera lens. Through the artful use of close-ups, pacing, lighting, and perspective, a filmmaker can fundamentally alter how we perceive time, space, and identity. Cinema allows us to inhabit viewpoints completely alien to our own. You can spend 2 hours living inside the reality of a street vendor in Tokyo, an astronaut facing infinite isolation, or a historical figure navigating a geopolitical crisis. This fluid shifting of perspectives shatters our inherent egocentrism. It expands what philosophers call our phenomenological horizon, the boundaries of what we conceptualize as possible human experiences. Furthermore, analyzing cinema intellectually sharpens our critical thinking. A visually literate person doesn't just watch a movie, they read it. They understand how a specific camera angle evokes a feeling of vulnerability, or how a recurring color motif foreshadows a psychological shift. Developing this level of aesthetic literacy translates directly into how we navigate the world. We become more discerning consumers of information, capable of decoding the visual manipulations and narratives that bombard us in everyday media. If we look at these 3 mediums collectively, theater, opera, and cinema, they all offer a profound antidote to one of the greatest maladies of the modern age, the fragmentation of attention and the erosion of depth. We live in an era of rapid consumption, where content is tailored to satisfy short-term gratification. Artistic activities demand the exact opposite. They demand an investment of time, contemplation, and presence. They require you to sit still for 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours, allowing a narrative arc to develop organically. This discipline builds what can be termed aesthetic stamina. It teaches us to appreciate slow-burning resolutions, intricate subtexts, and unresolved endings. And that is a vital life skill. Life, much like a great piece of art, rarely offers immediate gratification or neat, simplistic conclusions. It is full of subtext, pacing issues, and ambiguous third acts. Engaging with the arts also fosters intellectual humility. When we stand before a masterpiece or witness an incredible performance, we are reminded of the staggering heights of human capability. It pulls us out of our petty, microscopic self-concerns and connects us to something grander, the collective human tapestry. It reminds us that our personal joys and sufferings are part of a timeless, universal dialogue that spans centuries and continents. As we draw this episode to a close, my friends, I want to invite you to audit your cultural diet. Personal development is not merely about inputs and outputs, productivity hacks, or optimization. A truly developed person is not just an efficient machine, they are a resonant, deeply feeling, and intellectually sophisticated being. The next time you are deciding how to spend an evening, I challenge you to look past the easy comfort of algorithmic scrolling or superficial distractions. Buy a ticket to a local play, book a seat at the opera, or seek out an avant-garde film at an independent cinema. Step into that space with an open mind and a willing heart. Allow yourself to be challenged, to be disoriented, and to be deeply moved. Because it is precisely in those moments of profound artistic confrontation that our old selves fracture, making room for a version of us that is immeasurably wiser, more empathetic, and more vibrantly alive. Thank you so much for listening and for joining me on this exploration of the soul. Until next time, keep seeking beauty, honor the arts, then take care of yourselves. Goodbye for now.